All right. Well, welcome, everyone. It is 6 o'clock straight up here in Colorado. This is Jackie Christensen. Welcome to the Sisel Success Team Call. Tonight we have a very, very special call with extraordinary guests, Dr. Ann Louise Allen and Jeff Krushell. I'll be giving you the full bios and formal introduction in a moment. But tonight's call is special because we are going to discuss the Sisel Fire and Ice tea. It's Dr. Ann's famous formulation. She sold so much of this tea and these products because they're thermogenic and fat burning. They're absolutely incredible. So this call is for informational purposes. However, there's going to be a lot of fun going on too when you get Jeff and Dr. Ann on the phone. But let me go ahead and start the recording, and we'll get this call started. All right, so I'd like to introduce Dr. Ann Louise Allen. Dr. Ann is a doctor of naturopathy, and she is she's the expert. She's a leading clinical and medical researcher, and she conducts cutting-edge research in the glycemic index, in neuronutrition, in childhood obesity, in L-arginine, brain glycemic indexing. She has created the name key codes to describe whether the body burns fat or stores fat. She's all about metabolic medicine, and she is the chief of biomedical research at the Glycemic Research Institute. She is the only U.S. government certification program in the nation, and she's conducted over 30 years of human in vivo clinical trials for the largest food companies in the world. So she has also done incredible work, not only with the teas, and she has many, many patents on fat-burning coffee and fat-burning tea, but also she received the first ever glycemic patent ever awarded worldwide, and just incredible. I could go on and on and on about Dr. Allen. You'll also be hearing tonight from Jeff Krushell. Now, Jeff Krushell is president of the International Sports Certification. He's a world-renowned expert in the area of strength and conditioning and athletic development and human performance. And he's the head of strength and conditioning for Major League Baseball International for the past 11 years, and he knows his stuff. He works with athletes at the highest level, and he develops the highest caliber of athlete performance. He is incredible. He's an athlete himself. He walks the talk, and he is partnered with Dr. Allen and is just truly a sports performance specialist. And he is in charge of the upcoming Sisel line of sports performance products. So Dr. Allen and Jeff Krushell have joined us in Sisel to help Tom create these incredible products, both fat-burning and thermogenesis, as well as sports performance. So we are really in for a treat tonight, and we are so privileged as a company to have these two incredible people join us in Sisel International. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Dr. Allen and Jeff Krushell. Welcome to the call, guys.
Hey, Jackie.
Hi there. Jeff,
hey, how you doing, girl?
You crack me up every time you say that. Doing great. Jeff, how are you tonight?
Very good. Hello to everybody from the Great White North up here. I'll tell you, we are in the midst of winter, and I'm looking forward to spring. So hopefully we'll heat things up with this call tonight a little bit.
Absolutely. Let's melt some snow.
Well, the way I look at it, anybody that's in Canada right now is stark raving insane, okay? You know what I'm saying?
Wait, Jeff, where are you?
Yes, I'm way up here. I am way up here.
I like he'd be crazy up there shoveling the snow, and the wind is blowing, it's 40 below. It's like, oh no, that's not going to happen. Nope.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, I got the old spring training itch right about this point in time. I'll tell you that much.
Well, exactly. You need to get down here to Florida.
Well, you know what? Spring is just around the corner, and when you two get on the phone and talk about this fire and ice thermogenic fat-burning tea, things definitely heat up. So let's have a sizzling call.
Let's do it, girl.
I'd love to hear the story behind the Thermogenic fat burning tea. When did you come up with this? How did you come up with it? Tell us the story about it. I mean, this product has sold millions, if not billions of dollars in sales because of what it does. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Well, because I'm a scientist, because certain things piss me off, okay? They do. And if I see something that's going on in terms of human health that makes me mad, it's like, Krushell will tell you, I'll call him up one day. I just got the idea for a brand new product, which I'd love to tell you about, but it's really cool, okay? And he goes, Doc, we got to do it. We got to do the research, do the science, file a patent on this. So, yeah. So whenever I see like there's a problem, I get obsessed with it, okay, in science and research. I mean, that's what we do in our clinic at the Glycemic Research Institute. And we do board-approved human in vivo clinical trials for the United States government, the Canadian government, the UK government, and the World Health Organization. So our clinical trials have to be real accurate, okay, because the government doesn't mess around with that. You make a mistake on a clinical trial, and somebody's going to sue you, because we do trials for Procter & Gamble and Hershey and, all of the big boys, Department of Agriculture. So we have to be seriously accurate. And so we're constantly developing new methodologies to push the boundaries of testing, either for glycemic index, glycemic load, brain glycemic indexing, adiposity, fat cells, whatever. And so I invented the coffee and tea and filed a patent on it in 1983. And here's why. My brother's girlfriend, I told my brother, I said, you need to be careful. His girlfriend was Diane Bonanno from the Bonanno family, okay? We're not Italian. We're French Huguenot. And I told my brother, I said, you mess around with this girl, you go find yourself in a trunk stabbed, right? So she came to me and she goes, hey, Aunt Louise, listen. We got a whole office full of people here in Washington, D.C. in our real estate office, and, they're drinking coffee all day and tea, but they're just getting fatter and and can you do something about it? I said, yeah, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to make some fat-burning coffee and tea. She started laughing hysterically. She goes, you're so funny. You're so funny. All right, but then I started thinking, hey, wait a minute, right? Why couldn't I invent fat-burning thermogenic coffee and tea? It's not so crazy. If you know how to induced thermogenesis, which is the main mechanism for getting rid of excess calories, and then it doesn't matter what you put it in. So, of course, me and my crazy science brain, I'm sitting there writing formulas, right, like crazy, and my brothers and sisters go, oh, no, she's off on another toot. Look at her. Don't even try and talk to her. She's writing down. All right, then I start messing around with putting the compound in coffee and whatever, filed a federal patent on it, and my patent attorney said, there's no way you're getting a patent on this. There's no way. Of course I did. For the first low-glycemic, fat-burning coffees and teas or anything that went into liquid, it didn't matter what I put it in. I can put it in dishwater, girls. It's going to work, okay? So I thought, well, why coffee and tea? Because that's what we drink. Isn't that the most consumed beverages in the world? Absolutely. And, we did a lot of research on coffee and showing that coffee will make you fat. Coffee can make you fat because it stimulates the ketones and stimulates insulin. So that's how we started it, and I was just all hopping excited to make fat-burning coffees and teas and said, all right, now I need to make the tea taste good, make it work good, and put other couple of really fun things in there, like debloating for women. So that's how that's how I invented it.
I love to hear the stories behind products, and I love the fact that you're helping the general public lose unhealthy fat, because we all know fat is active. We used to think it just sat there and did what fat does, but it's actually it's active, and it creates bad stress hormones and all kinds of things. So thank you for being on.
You are so smart. You're so smart. You know that they recently acknowledged fat and skin as its own organ. That skin is now its own organ because it has its own game plan, and now fat cells are their own organ because they got their own little game plan.
Wow. Well, thank you for helping us eliminate all this unhealthy fat. So what I would like to do is, we do a product call every time a new product comes out, and we talk about how it works and the ingredients. So let's talk about the ingredients in the tea, and at the end of the call, too, I'd love to have that Q&A session. We've got some great questions from people on the team and people on Facebook in Sisel.
Well, girl, you know how I love questions and answers.
I do. I do.
I
and
love
guys,
to hear from everybody out there. I wish I could see them and hear them right now.
Well, I tell you what, I sent you the questions in advance from Facebook. Did you notice I left everyone's photos on there so you could see who they were?
I am so happy you did that because I like to see who I'm talking to. That's why I love an open call where they can just ask me questions. Of course, it would be chaos, right? Okay, I understand it would be total chaos because we'd be talking about Lord knows what. We would go off on a tangent. And we would never get back on the topic of tea. We'd be talking about shoes or something, or how, I don't know. So, yes, thank you for doing that. I thought that was fabulous.
Okay,
yeah, fat-burning shoes. I like that.
Oh, yeah, you know what? They're called tennis shoes. They're called sneakers. All right, so let's talk about the ingredients. Tell us, I've got the label here in front of me.
Okay.
I don't have the tea yet, guys. But, you've got vitamin C in there. You've got B vitamins. You've got some minerals in there. You've got a lot of copper. And then you've got this proprietary blend of caffeine and green tea. So why don't we start with the most effective ingredients first? What gives it that thermogenic fat-burning ability?
Well, here's the issue. You can induce thermogenesis, right? But the key is you need to do it right. Okay, you can say, okay, this is thermogenic or that's thermogenic, but if you're not going to do it right, and you're not going to do it in accordance with how the human body works, then just don't bother at all. Do it right or don't do it at all. I say that goes for cooking too. So, the thing is, what we understand about thermogenesis is you can instigate thermogenesis, but you've got to do it in a holistic way, because it's going to affect the whole body, okay? Now, what we don't want is to have anybody, shaking so hard from thermogenesis and getting so jacked up, that they drive off a cliff or they start banging on their kitchen walls with a pot, right? Because if you induce too much thermogenesis, people be going crazy, okay? So we don't want that.
Okay.
We also don't want to induce the side effects of thermogenesis when it's not done correctly, which you can increase water weight and bloat up. You can burn too little or too much thermogenesis. So every single ingredient in that tea has been researched by me for over 30 years in human in vivo clinical trials, and we have thousands and thousands of clinical trials, because I was darn determined to make sure that if we were going to do thermogenesis in people, it was going to be safe and effective. Now, there's only so much thermogenesis that you can instigate for the fat cells to speed up their fat burning, let go of their contents, okay? And they have to be eased out of it. You cannot just take a fat cell and smack it upside the head and go, okay, I don't want you to be fat anymore, I want you to be thin. So let's look at it this way. Everybody has a certain number of fat cells, right? But that doesn't determine in terms of thermogenesis how overweight or fat you're going to be. It's if the fat cell is bloated fat, okay, it's the size of a big marshmallow, and they do look like marshmallows. They actually, in a biopsy or under a microscope, they look like a marshmallow, like a Stay Puft marshmallow, okay? So you can choose to either have fat cells or you can have thin fat cells. If you get the fat cell to become thin and flat, then you're a thin and shapely person. If you keep filling up that fat cell with contents and then the fat cell has no way to get rid of it, to burn it, okay, then you're going to gain weight and gain weight and gain weight, okay? And we're going to talk about in a minute about PMS and estrogen and menopause, of how that stops thermogenesis, okay? So every single ingredient there is based on forcing that fat cell to naturally let go of its contents, speed up the fat-burning process in your body. So it's like being on a mouse wheel, okay? Now, the other thing you can do is to stop putting things in your mouth that make the fat cells get fat. When one fat cell touches another, that's the trigger to make more fat cells. So we just keep filling them up and filling them up. So in thermogenesis, putting the right B vitamins in there and potassium, and I created the first buffered caffeine, and we still have the only, well, as Krushell will tell you, we have one and only buffered caffeine. And why do we want to buffer caffeine? Go to Starbucks, right, and park yourself up there and drink about 5 Starbucks coffees or lattes, right? You'll be jittering off the planet. You'll be talking so crazy, right, that somebody will go, "Shut up. Just shut it up." You know what I'm saying? When you're like, you're yattering, but you can't even control it, or somebody else is yattering and they won't, and you just want to hit them on the head with a fly swatter. okay? That's thermogenesis out of control. But that type of thermogenesis doesn't burn fat. Okay, that's from too much caffeine. So I created buffer caffeine, right? So I surround the caffeine molecule with a buffer that makes you not jittery, makes it not go into the fat cell, makes it not stimulate insulin. It makes that caffeine molecule behave. And to this day, we have the only buffered caffeine in the world. You will not see buffered caffeine anywhere else. And we're the only ones who can legally say we have buffered caffeine. So that was really key, is in preventing the thermogenesis and the caffeine from going in your fat cells and stimulating insulin and making more fat cells while balancing your body at the whole time. So what do we need? We want an energy drink, right? Well, how do you make an energy drink? You could either be crazy, like some of these companies that make energy drinks, and put like 200 milligrams of caffeine in there, which is really dangerous, and it's really bad. It's a bad thing to do because it stimulates more fat cells and blood glucose and insulin, and that leads to breast cancer, prostate cancer, and a few other nasty things that we don't want to induce. So what we try to do...
Just a second, because you said something so important, and you know this, but this is the first time we're hearing this. Did you say that normal caffeine stimulates insulin?
Yes, it does.
Wow.
And that's been proven by the American Diabetes Association and about 2,000 other independently published journal documents. And of course, I have them all, and I'm going to make those available to the people in our education classes, and they'll be able to go, here's the references. There's 3,000 references. Shut up, showing that coffee stimulates blood glucose and insulin, which is about the worst thing you can do. The worst thing in terms of diabetes, because here's what's causing diabetes. We keep eating the same type 2. Keep eating the same foods that make the fat cells bigger and bigger and bigger, and that elevate blood glucose and insulin and brain glycemic indexing. And finally, your body goes, "That's it. I've had enough. I can't fix it anymore. I can't put out the hormones that are going to correct what you're eating." And guess what? You're going to be diabetic. You're going to be diabetic. So that same thing is what causes obesity, and obesity is pre-diabetes. Think of it. If you get fat enough, you're going to develop typically type 2 diabetes. Okay, that's the first order is to create buffered caffeine that does what I want it to. But you can't just put caffeine in a drink like they do in energy drinks. Okay, you know what? In fact, I was asked by Harvard Law School to go to a lawsuit against an energy drink and represent the American public in why energy drinks are dangerous and why they make you fat and cause diabetes, okay? So Harvard Law asked me to testify, and I'm like, okay, on that stand, I will be shot. Some energy company will just shoot me. But so I provided all the data for them, and they did win that lawsuit. But the point is that we need to have correct and honorable metabolic medicine, which means you know what you're doing, you understand how to formulate products, you've done clinical research on them, and you understand the human body, or just don't try to formulate something if you don't know what you're doing. So every ingredient in that tea is specifically, and I love the name, Fire and Ice Tea. I love that name. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I didn't come up with that. I think Tom did, but it's brilliant, okay? Is formulated to help you break down fat in the fat cells, increase your thermogenic fat burning, and have energy all day long. So you can, like I said, you can drink one of these crazy canned energy drinks and you're going to jitter and store fat. But what we've done is to create 2 to 4 hours of balanced energy that doesn't stress out your adrenal glands. So I had to create a compound that didn't stress out your adrenal glands. We have the only energy compound in the tea that does not stress human adrenal glands.
Amen. Thank you for that. So many people have a problem with caffeine, and it's stressing out their adrenals, and they're not able to have any coffee at all. And so that's really great news.
Well, if it's good science, you can make it work. And if I can't make it work, I won't make a product. It's just that simple. I'm a little anal retentive. I'm sure you couldn't figure that out. I drive Krushell crazy. I drive him crazy. I go, we can't put this in here because, hey, Doc Beauty, let's put some. I'll go, no, because their eyes will pop out. And then Krushell will say, is that a bad thing? Would that be bad?
Gosh, that's funny. I'd love to be on a fly on the wall with one of your conversations. Okay, so there's the vitamins. Tell me about the minerals now. You've got copper and chromium and potassium and sodium.
Okay, and here's why. Chromium is the master regulator in the human body of blood sugar. And there's only certain forms of chromium that will affect the blood sugar. We know from the Department of Agriculture that over 80% of the public has chromium deficiencies, which is one of the reasons that people are developing diabetes, okay? When you mess with the master regulator of blood sugar in the human body, which is chromium, okay, but it has to be a polynicotinator or nicotinator, a certain type of chromium, and we did all the testing for chromium in our lab for the Department of Agriculture, and they did massive millions of dollars of studies on chromium to figure out which one affects blood glucose. So given the fact, Jackie, that we know that most of the people on this call, the vast majority, are going to be chromium deficient, okay, then we've got to put the chromium back in their body to help their blood sugar, right? I can't fix your blood sugar if you don't have the serum chromium levels that are appropriate. So what do? First line of defense. I'm going to go into the bloodstream and fix what's wrong, okay? Now, we know that when you induce thermogenesis, you use certain minerals. Well, guess where the body would get those from? They'd pull them out of your bones. They will pull them out of your jaw and your teeth, okay? Like they do in pregnancy. That calcium's going to come from somewhere, and those minerals are going to come from somewhere. And so boron and all of those essential minerals, if I induce thermogenesis, look at an energy drink, okay, with caffeine. They don't care that your body's pulling out minerals from your bone and teeth and causing arthritis when you're in your 60s. Do they really care? Do they really care? No, they don't care. But I care. So I am in preventive medicine from the second I start formulating something. So understanding that thermogenesis itself, because it's burning fat in your body. And in order to burn it, use certain vitamins and minerals. I put those minerals right back in that formula so your body won't go into your bones and teeth and pull out the minerals.
Perfect. You're setting us up for success. All right, great. Let's talk about the proprietary blend. You've got caffeine, green tea leaf extract.
Right. Now we can't, if we tell you how we make that, might have to kill you, and that's probably irritating. But so here you got things to do. When you have a proprietary blend in terms of Food and Drug Administration and FTC legal claims, something I know a little bit about, they will let you do a proprietary blend, and you don't have to tell how you make it. So with our sweetener that's in there, okay, that we make in our laboratory, the Sisel Sweet, which is in there, we don't have to tell how we make it, and we don't have to tell how we make the proprietary blend. But I am so meticulous of how I won't use solvents, I won't use acids, I'll only use natural ingredients, okay, to make sure that we have created a compound that's going to be. Now, we tested, just to show you how safe it is, I'm the only scientist in the world that has taken the Thermogenic products and tested them in 250,000 people over a 20-year period with not one side effect, okay? Take that to the bank. Show me another product that can say that. So we're going to make sure that the proprietary ingredients that we use that I create in my laboratory are safe. That sweetener is safe enough for a baby to eat.
Okay, and we'll get to the sweetener, but tell us about, you've talked about the buffered caffeine, the green tea extract. What does that do? How does that contribute either to thermogenesis or the overall?
Okay, I love that you asked that. I love that you asked that. Well, one of the things that we know is that not just coffee has certain compounds, and they're called phenolic compounds, and we extract those, okay, from the coffee, because you would have to drink 500 cups of coffee, right, to extract the polyphenols that you need in there to help with thermogenesis. And there are compounds, NIH has done years and years of study now on finding compounds in coffee that we believe can prevent cancer, and NIH is working on that right now. But what we know is there are compounds in coffee that help prevent Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and cancer, and NIH is working on those compounds, okay? So we extract those compounds out of tea because you can get different compounds out of tea leaves, and one of them calls EGCG. And EGCG is one of the most powerful thermogenic agents, but it has to be extracted properly, and you can't use solvents or alcohol or anything like that, because most of those EGCG you see in the market is extracted with solvents, which is like acid and and rubbing alcohol. I won't do that.
Wow.
I absolutely won't do that. I'll only do it with natural water extraction. So you would have to drink 500 cups of tea a day. And if we look at epidemiological studies in India and other countries, people that drink 4 or 5 cups of tea a day of green tea, they live longer. Yeah, there's a reason they live longer. There's incredible protective compounds in tea. So we extract those from green tea so you don't have to drink 500 cups a day to get all of the activity of high levels of EGCG, and then we put them in the fire and ice tea. So you can see how well thought out this product is. I mean, I know I go a little too far with it, but I'm putting my name on this, okay? I'm putting this stuff in people's bodies, which means I better darn well know that it's safe, long-term, and efficacious, which is why we not only do human in vivo clinical trials and we do MRIs, brain scans, but we also do huge studies of 250,000 people over a 20-year period to show that it's safe. I challenge you to show me one product on the market that has that background.
This is fantastic. We can feel safe drinking this tea. I love the fact that you don't use chemicals to extract the ECGC either. That's fantastic. I love it. Looking at the label too, I'm glad that you put Sisel put the cautions on there. Not to drink if you're nursing or pregnant or under.
Well, actually, I wrote that label, Jackie. I wrote that label.
Well, I'm glad you wrote that because it clearly spells out who should take it and who shouldn't. You also
I am very anal about that, and whenever I create a product that's going to have my name on it, which is a registered trademark, I'm going to write the label, and I'm going to put things on there that the law doesn't require me to do. The law doesn't require you to do a lot of things, but that's not good enough for me. If it's going to be done, it's going to be meticulously done, and I'm going to go way out of my way to explain what levels you should use, how you should use it, who can use it, even things that aren't required by law. I think that people deserve to know. And Jackie, as you know, that's why I'm so big, and Krushell and I are so big into education. If I teach everybody who's using the tea how it works, why it works, the science behind it, the research, and then teach them about nutrition and thermogenesis, that is a huge tool that they will have to go out and to educate people on the tea and how it works, okay? The science behind this product is 30 years of clinical research and science.
Well, let's talk about the other ingredients, just so people know what makes it taste so good. You got fruit juice concentrate with fruit sugars, pomegranate fruit concentrate, natural fruit flavor, and other natural flavors. Tell us
Okay, now let me explain that to you. You're going to love this. Okay. Because I love using fruit as a sweetener, because it's good for brain glycemic indexing and good for blood glucose, and it's natural. As I said, we've tested it in children aged 6 to 18 who had type 1 and type 2 diabetes. So we don't joke around, okay? We're really, really serious. When Krushell and I put something in someone's body, I look at it as if it's my own child, my own baby. Everybody on this call is my own little baby and my own child, because that's how careful I'm going to be about your body. I have as much respect for your body as my daughter's body or my grandchild's body, okay? That's the way I feel about it, and that's the way I'm going to live my life, and that's the way I'm going to formulate. So what we did was, if you eat a piece of fruit, okay, if you eat a piece of fruit, you're going to find there's 3 sugars in there: glucose, sucrose, and free fructose, all right? Now, there are also glycosides, which are very sweet. One of them is Truvia, which is rubidioside A, which I love because it's natural. Not stevia, but rubidioside A, which is one of the glycosides in stevia. So if you eat a piece of fruit, 2/3 of that fruit's going to store in your fat cells, because 2/3 of those things are high glycemic in any piece of fruit. But what if you took the high glycemic ingredients out and left the natural polyphenols and the natural compounds and the natural sweetness of a fruit, and you made that into a sweetener that would be safe enough for babies or type 1 and type 2 diabetics or children or anybody? even somebody with type 2 diabetes, okay? We've given 75 grams of my sweetener to a type 2 diabetic, and their blood sugar didn't budge. You know how big a piece of candy that would be? As big as 5 people's heads, as big as a horse, okay?
Oh, my God.
So, yes, can you take this and put it in chocolate candy and make it not fattening? You better believe it you can. You better believe it, okay?
All right.
You can take the compound in the sweetener and put it in anything, whether it's ice cream or candy or chocolate or whatever, and that's why Tom Maurer and I are going to make lots more products that are good for you and that don't store in the fat cells. So that's what that sweetener is. It gets centrifuged down in a water bath, okay, very delicately. So we remove the high glycemic fattening ingredients from the piece of fruit, and I only buy organic fruit from Washington State or any of the small growers in Colorado or Washington or Wyoming that do small organic farming.
Okay. And do you use a particular type of, I heard you say kiwi a few weeks ago.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
There are only certain fruits I can use because other fruits are really high glycemic. Like watermelon is one of the most high glycemic fruits, so we can't use that. And it doesn't have it's really just a lot of water. If you think of a watermelon, it's just, you suck it and there's nothing there. It's just water.
Hence the name water.
Hence the name watermelon. Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, my favorite fruits, like what's in the tea, is pomegranate fruit. I used pomegranate. I used some kiwi. I used so to get it to taste right, I have to use natural fruits that are low glycemic.
Okay, great.
Like if we're talking to parents that are on the phone tonight, one of the best things you can do is give your kids peaches and pears, not peach or pear juice. Remember, that causes elevation of blood glucose and stimulation of childhood progenitor fat cells because it moves through the system too quickly and dumps insulin. But peaches and pears are the best fruit you can give your children because they're low glycemic and they won't stimulate the creation of new fat cells in children. And remember, that's the prime time that children make fat cells. And also, anything with the word berry in it, blueberries, strawberries, anything with the word berry. So please don't give your kids fruit juice. Give them those fruits. No bananas. No bananas.
No banana berries?
There ain't no banana berries, girl.
Would you please make us some chocolate berries? Okay, so here's my question then, and it doesn't have to be exact, but what's the glycemic index on the tea, would you say?
Okay, we're never going to reveal that. And here's one reason because I run a human in vivo FDA claim substantiation laboratory. We have to you're going to love this. We divide all of the groups into female, male, type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, by age, by amount of body fat. Now, since 80% of the public is insulin resistant, think about that. When I started this research, only 10%. Now in 2015, 80%. Yes, which means, here's what that means. It means 80% of the people that you know are storing foods as fat at a higher capacity than if they didn't have insulin resistance. When you have diabetes, why do you think diabetics keep getting fatter and fatter? Because they don't process food properly. Right. They're not processing it properly. Okay? So that's when we go back to, I don't remember what your question was. What was it?
I asked what's the GI number?
Oh, yeah. All right, so here's the thing. When we do our government research, if we take a group that's diabetic, type 2 diabetic, right, and give them the same product, let's just say it's a banana, okay, as a group that is non-diabetic and of normal weight, they'll have two separate glycemic indexes. The diabetic group will have a different glycemic index than the group who's normal. Is that not the craziest thing? It's because you are not what you eat. You are what you metabolize. You are not what you eat. So if you are 20 pounds overweight, you're going to metabolize food differently than someone who's thin and healthy. How crazy is that? And that's why we have to take people who have too much body fat or are obese, and we have to reprogram their fat cells and reprogramming their body, and that's what this tea does, is to reprogram your body.
And how your body responds to certain foods.
Right, so we're not going to give you the glycemic index because it depends on how much you weigh.
Got it. Okay.
But here's what we do know. No, well, here's what we do say. In order to make a claim of low glycemic, which you'll see there's a little seal that Jeff Krushell represents, okay, and that little seal is on that bottle, okay, which means human in vivo clinical trials have been done for years and years and years and years, which means no matter who we gave it to, it had a low glycemic index, no matter who we gave it to. That's the only way to say low glycemic on a label illegally is if no matter who you gave it to, whether they weighed 100 pounds or 500 pounds, they still had a low glycemic response. Now, we don't want our competitors to know what that number is, do we? Like Amway and Herbalife. We don't want to tell
them. Right. Okay, but it does have a low glycemic response in all the body. In
anybody.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Great. Let me see if there's anything else here. I think that's all I want to talk about. So how about we go to questions?
Yay!
All right, great. All right, so let's just start here with Jeannie Jaden. She's asking 2 questions. Well, here's a great one. When will a high glycemic food list be available to us?
Oh, I love that question. Since we have the list of hundreds of thousands of foods, poor Jeff hasn't been able to say a word. We got to let him talk in a minute.
We're letting him rest.
I'm enjoying the call. This is great.
He's enjoying the ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, you should see Crusher and I on a stage together. It's like Jerry Lewis. It's a Jerry Lewis act. It's insane. We'll just talk over each other, and it's wacky, but it's so much fun. Okay, so what was the question?
Oh, so the question is, when will a high glycemic foods list be available?
Okay, this is what my goal is with Sisel. Okay, and Jackie's been so kind as to help Crusher and I really get focused on what the people want and how to deliver it to them. I need to educate them on glycemic index, glycemic load, brain glycemic index, thermogenesis. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to make downloadables for something like iTunes. We're going to make CDs. And in the classes, Crusher and I are now going to start teaching classes to certify people in either weight management, type 2 diabetes, childhood obesity, how the tea works, how the fire and ice tea works, on any topic in nutrition. They're going to take the classes, pass the tests. They'll be in our elite group of students, and they will become certified in that area of nutrition. And we're going to teach them everything about the glycemic index, including what foods children should eat for appropriate glycemic index for children or babies or adults or athletes. Crusher's going to teach the classes in sports nutrition because we know that high glycemic foods and beverages reduces sports performance. So we're going to educate them and try to give them all of the knowledge that Jeff Krushell and I have developed over a 30-year period. And I'm going to be so excited to do that. And then when we go lecture for Sisel, we're going to have special meetings where we meet with just the people who signed up in the classes and help them with any questions that they have so that they can pass the class, take the test, and get certified. And their names will be on a public list. It's on the website of people who have passed the classes and been certified in sports nutrition, thermogenesis, or whatever. And that's when they're going to learn everything they need to know. And Crusher and I will be there to walk them through it hand by hand.
All right. Fantastic. Well, we really look forward to those classes, and I know you'll give us a timeline later on during the call. So her next question is, are there foods that someone with a hypothyroidism should follow more closely?
Yeah. Now, here's the legal answer. And believe me, if people give you any answer other than this, you need to run, okay? Hang up the phone, tell them they're crazy, whatever. Just throw an apple at their head or hang up. The Food and Drug Law and FTC, which regulates websites and even phone calls, radio, TV, okay, says if there is any condition in which is called a disease state, we cannot legally answer that question in connection to any thermogenic product or any nutraceutical or nutrition product, okay, or even an aspirin. They have to take the label to their doctor or take the box or even just cut and paste the label ingredients and send it over to your physician, and the physician has to make the choice because there could be underlying conditions or comorbidities that we're not aware of. So we couldn't possibly answer that question unless we have all their medical records, and we ain't got time for that. Please, we ain't got time for that.
Well, I like how you say, too, on the box, you said if you have any medical condition or taking any medications, you need to go and talk to your physician and ask them if it's okay to take.
Yeah, and so many people, so many people have said to me, well, you don't need to say that on a label. That's not required. Okay, no, it's not required, but it's required by me. I'm going to go way overboard in what I'm legally obligated to do because I think people have a right to know. Just like they have a right to know if something's low glycemic, if it's going to stimulate fat storage. If people get educated, okay, knowledge is power. Okay? And if somebody wants to build their Sisel business like a real business, then they need to become certified in nutrition and understand exactly how these products work. So no matter who throws it at them and says, well, how does your body know to be thermogenic? Or, then they can, bam, answer the question in an intelligent way.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Next question. And I know the answer to this, but I have to hear you tell me the answer because it was hilarious. Is the thermogenic tea safe for children?
Oh my God! Okay, okay. Here's the answer. I want y'all to take your kids to the mall and go up to the Starbucks, okay? And then I want you to order like 20 cups of Starbucks coffee, which has about 500 milligrams of caffeine in it, right? And I want you to just sit there and have your kids just drink Starbucks coffee for about 5 hours, okay? Okay, and see what happens. No, first of all, legal answer. You cannot stimulate thermogenesis in anybody under age 16. It's illegal. Because what they don't want to do is have parents start having their kids drink thermogenic products to make them lose weight, okay, which is so crazy and so dangerous. And I've seen parents – do you know what I saw one time? I was at a ball game, and I saw a father give his little 6-year-old son 3 cans of Red Bull. And I almost called Child Protective Services.
Wow.
And but so no, we have to be. You can't be under 16 and stimulate thermogenesis. Plus, do you really need your kids? If kids drink caffeine or anything, they're going to wall bounce, okay? Because they don't have the same body that you have. So under 16, no, okay. Not unless you would take your kid to Starbucks and ply him with Starbucks coffee for 4 hours, okay? If you would do that, then maybe we can discuss that question. But I don't see that happening.
So what you're saying is the answer is no?
Yes, the answer is no, Jackie.
All right.
But I've never been able to just say no, you know that. I have to go into a story.
Okay. All right, great. Next question from Barbara Tabuada is the tea safe when you're taking high blood pressure pills? And there's a hypothyroidism question again.
Same question. Take the label, ingredient panel, and send it over to your doctor or show it to your doctor and say, can I have this? It's the same thing. We cannot answer medical questions because there could be comorbidities that we don't understand.
Thank you. Okay, Mike Collier asks, how much is too much with regard to thermogenesis in one day?
Oh, God, who was that? I love that question. Tell them I love them.
Michael Collier.
Michael, my beloved Rowena, I love you for asking that question. Okay. All right, so here's the answer. You can only induce thermogenesis like 3 times a day, okay? And the most important time is when you wake up, because as we know, when you wake up is when you tell your body either we're going to burn fat all day or we're going to store fat. So because of the breaking the fast, whatever you put in your mouth, okay, and this has been validated by Yale University. I'll show you that research when you take the class. Yay! Okay, so it's not just me saying it, it's Yale University. When you first get up, whatever you put in your mouth is telling your body for the first third of the day. Let's break it down into 4 segments of the day, okay, and 3 thermogenic burning times. So whatever you put in your mouth. So if you go in there and you drink a giant glass of orange juice that doesn't have pulp, remember, Tropicana Grove Stand orange juice, about 1/4 to 1/2 a cup a day. We did all the research for them for the Department of Agriculture. That was low glycemic. But if you got above 1/2 a cup of orange juice, your blood sugar starts going up, people. So if you eat a donut or a bagel, your blood sugar is going to go up. And what have you done? You told your fat cells, we're going to make more fat cells and make you fat and imbalance your blood sugar all day long. And that's what leads to obesity, weight gain, and diabetes. On the other hand, if the first thing that goes in your mouth is the tea, now let's just say, for example, the fire and ice tea, What you've done is told your body, I'm not going to store fat for the next 4 hours. I'm going to burn fat. Now, so think about that. If the message you give your body all day long, okay, is burn fat, burn fat, burn fat, not store fat, okay, then what happens is your fat cells go, okay, I get it. We need to let go of the contents of the fat cell. Now, here's what you're going to notice. When you drink the fire and iced tea, you're going to have to immediately go tinkle within a half an hour, and you go, what in the world? And believe me, people, I had somebody call me from the hospital, and a doctor was with a woman who had taken the tea, and she goes, oh my God, I don't know what happened. I'm now urinating, and it's green or blue, and the doctor said, what's going on? I said, oh no. Here's what'll happen. What you're going to do is when you first urinate, you're going to look and see your urine is bright yellow, like day-glow yellow. Well, guess what? That's the contents of the fat cell breaking down, and they're bright yellow. So when you look in there and you go, oh, dear Jesus, Lord Jesus, help me, baby Jesus, okay? Well, here's what this woman did. She had the tidy bowl man thing, and so blue and green made yellow. The yellow and the green made a blue color, so her urine was blue. She went to the emergency room and went, oh, my God, I'm dying. And so I told the doctor, I said, no, she had the tidy bowl man mixed with the yellow urine. Listen, let me tell you something. You want your urine to be yellow, bright yellow, all day long. Because if it's not, that means you've run out of nutrients in your blood sugar, in your bloodstream, okay, and you're running on fumes. The healthiest people have their urine's yellow most of the day. Now, as you drink a lot of water, okay, that tapers down the yellow color to mild yellow. But remember, you can tell when you're going to get sick. If all of a sudden your urine goes from being yellow into just clear, it's because your body is using up all your B vitamins and your minerals to try to have your NK killer cells fight that virus or cold, okay? And that's how you can tell you're getting sick. Also look in your tongue and you'll see, it looks like you have a sock on it. So the point is that you can only, and so that's a good thing. You want to say, oh, look, my urine is nice and yellow. If you're at a restaurant, have everybody in the restaurant come in and look at your urine. Okay, say, look how nice and bright yellow. Oh, yay! Okay, so guess how fat cells get out of the body, the contents. It has to break down into the liquid systems. You can't just reach in there and grab a fat cell and choke it, okay, and squish it. It has to turn into liquid. Now, here's what's crazy. That liquid comes out in your fat cells, even in the tear ducts of your eyes. So after you drink the fire and iced tea, I could take a tiny dab of a teardrop in your eye from a tear duct, put it under a microscope, and you'll see the contents of a fat cell. But mostly it breaks down in urine. But even on your skin, even on the liquid and the water, the sweat coming out of your skin, it's breaking down the fat cells, which I love. Now,
tears really are fat.
Yes. Yes. Now, ladies, that doesn't mean somebody make me cry all day and I'll get rid of fat. It doesn't work that. Make me cry. Hey, that's a whole new thing. Make me cry and lose weight. Oh, that'd be great. Okay. That's not the way it works. So the only time. So picture you trigger thermogenesis in the morning, right? Then you want to wait at least an hour and a half and have something low glycemic, and we'll go over what that is later. Then the next time is in between breakfast and lunch, is when you need to stimulate it again, because it's going to run out. It has a 2 to 4 year half-life, okay, and shelf life of fat burning. And you're going to feel energetic for up to 4 hours, and you have incredible clarity. I want you to notice the clarity you have after you drink the fire and iced tea. Your brain becomes clear because it's got the right brain fuel. So a lot of computer people are using it because it makes their cognitive function greatly improved. All right, then if you have a really big appetite about 45 minutes before lunch, then you drink the tea again, okay? If not, people usually get, logy and sluggish around 10:30. So somewhere between 10:30 and 11:30, drink the tea, and then boom, you're going to go off for fat burning for another 2 to 4 hours and full of energy. And then the other time you do it is between lunch and dinner. Now, after dinner, it's not going to work, okay? It's not going to work. You have to do it unless you're going to stay up all night. So if you don't want to you cannot do thermogenesis with food in your system. It doesn't work. You cannot put anything else in your stomach No food, no beverage, no drink, no other energy drink, no other thermogenic thing. This tea has to be the only thing in your stomach for about 20 minutes after you drink it, right, in order for it to work, because anything else that's in there might trigger the fat cells and insulin, and it will stop the thermogenesis. So 3 times a day is when I drink it 3 times a day, and it keeps me going all day. So that's when you want to do it, somewhere between lunch and dinner, and you will have energy all day, and you'll be fat burning all day. Now, you couple that with eating low glycemic ketone foods, and you're going to lose body fat really quickly. You don't want to lose weight. You can cut off your head and lose weight, okay? You need to lose body fat. It's the body fat that's causing the problem, not the weight. I mean, muscle is weight and bone is weight, and you don't lose that, and the scale generally doesn't know the difference. You're trying to just lose adipose tissue body fat and water weight 3 times a day, and that's the way to do it. Otherwise, anytime close to like bedtime or between dinner and bedtime isn't going to work unless you're staying up all night.
Okay. All right. Second part of that question, I know few people had this question. You kind of answered it. A lot of people are taking the Thermally 500, which is a Sisel product, and the Sisel Cafe weight loss coffee. The question is, can they also take the tea simultaneously? So you're telling me that they shouldn't have it in their system when the Fire and Ice tea is in their system. Is that
right?
Correct?
That's exactly right. Because the Fire and Ice tea is specifically made to do about 20 different things in your body. And if you've got anything else in your stomach at the same time, it's not going to work. It'll look at that as an antagonist. The tea has to be only, in other words, if you're going to drink the Fire and Ice tea, you cannot drink any other thing that's any product, including coffee or, energy drinks or things like that. It doesn't matter what it is. You can't drink a supplement or anything that has caffeine in it or that's thermogenic, because it's going to block or blunt the type of thermogenesis that we're trying to control.
Okay, great. And you do have that on the label, and thank you. So once people get their tea this week, they can read the label and get those reminders. All right, let's see. Thank you for that. Next question from Christy Nicholson, Levin. Can a person using Accutane also use the tea? It's from a customer.
Again, you're going to have to ask your physician. Medical question.
All right. Are there any effects of the Thermogenic Fire and Ice tea on the liver?
No. Now, here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting note. One of the reasons that people are having pancreatitis and gallbladder, the number one reason people have their gallbladders removed is because they're losing weight too quickly. So when people have bariatric surgery or they go on a fast, or people who, they gain weight and they lose weight, that's what's causing the gallbladder problems, is they're not losing it at a controlled level. They're just, when you lose weight too fastly, from either bariatric surgery or fasting or starving. Remember, when you do fasting, your body makes more fat cells. It's the worst possible thing you could do. It will not make you lose weight. It'll make you lose muscle mass and organ tissue and bone matrix. Do not do it. So that's why people are having gallbladders removed and having pancreatic problems, is they're losing weight too quickly, and they're losing it at not a controlled rate.
Okay, great. We've got just a few more minutes before the end of the call, and so the Connect call starts. And I have one more question, and then I want to hear more about the classes that you and Jeff Krushell have planned and all that. The last question is, and most people in Sisel are taking the Triangle of Life in the morning, and that is the Spectrum Activacoidin and the Eternity. And those are liquid nutritionals. They have a couple grams of sugar in them. The Eternity has an energy blend, shatabugra, guarana, and a little caffeine, so I think I know the answer there. But would you suggest taking those, the Triangle of Life, like 2 hours after, or 20 minutes?
Here's what we want to do. You're either going to have the Fire and Ice tea when you first get up, and then you would have to wait, maybe an hour before you put that in your body, or you can do it the other way around. You can have that product first and then wait an hour and a half and then take your tea. Either way, but you can't have them within each other within 2 hours of each other.
Yeah. I think most people would want to flip that thermogenic switch on the minute they wake up.
And then definitely they do need the good nutrients, but wait hour and a half or 2 hours before you do that. And also when you take that other product, you need to have a little something to eat with it. Okay, you need to have that with food. With the tea, you can't have food anywhere near it. But with the product you just described, you need to have a little something to eat with it, because those and the enzymes in the food that you eat, like us, we're going to teach you guys how to make smoothies and things like that. You know, you can take this tea and make a smoothie out of it, and I'm going to teach you how. But don't try to do it now, because you have to know exactly what ingredients to use to make a smoothie out of this. But what we're going to teach them how to make a fat burning smoothie. That is compatible with thermogenesis.
All right, fantastic. Well, how about this? Would you and Jeff promise to come back and do this again so we can get through the other questions?
Oh, gee, I guess time's up. Poor Crusher didn't get to talk. Crusher, say something.
I didn't need to talk. Jackie, you got to understand that there will be times when, Doc and I will be brainstorming. It'll be like 3 a.m. in the morning, my phone will ring. It's like the bat phone, and I know exactly what it is. So, it's all hours of the day we're thinking and bringing things up. But I just want to say that, this is you got to understand that the research and work that's gone into these products, and Dr. Allen has mentioned it already, but just to reiterate again how serious we take this work when we start delivering this to other human beings that are going to trust and put this into their bodies to have an incredible positive effect. That's something that we've all taken very seriously. The certification with the ISC there is very serious as well, giving people some consumer confidence, and that's something we could talk about again on another call. But we're very proud to be part of this program here, and I think we're on the very first stages of an exciting relationship and helping people not just build their businesses but build better lives, because truly at the end of the day that's what it's all about. So no, I didn't get to talk much tonight, but it was a tremendous listen, I'll tell you that, and there's some more great things to come.
Well, good. I do have a few questions. Maybe you can answer these. And the first question is, what are the other products coming, or what can we look forward to in Sisel as far as future products? I know, Jeff, that you're working on some products for a future sports line.
Yeah, so you're right. That's an interesting question, and we know that Sisel's growing very, very, very quickly, and we know there's been lots of talks behind the scenes as to how best to roll this out. So we're gonna get the tea out there. We're gonna get feedback and some good information from the field as to how the rollout went, how the product's being received, and from there I think we'll really sort of map it out and get the feedback from everybody as to how we want to build the next products in the upcoming months and years. But there's a lot of great things in the pipeline, that's for sure.
Wonderful. And just as a close, tell us more about the education part of this. How can people get certified? What's the timing like? What they can look forward to. I got a lot of people texting me saying, when's the certification going to happen? When can we learn more? When can we get the list of booths and all that good stuff? They want to start learning.
Yes, and that's very important. It's something Dr. Allen and I are very passionate about as well. So I think the way we were sort of mapping it out, again, working with the infrastructure of Sisel and all the good people in the office there, we're looking at, again, once the tea is out, we need to make sure people understand how to use it and how to talk about it intelligently so they can build their businesses and help everybody out. So, we'll be rolling out a whole series of educational materials, from downloads online, digital downloads, to producing CDs, to pamphlets, and to the online courses, which are all going to be coming. So just so you know, again, the timelines are tough to say, so I don't want to make any promises we can't keep, but I will tell you this, it is in the works, and we're working incredibly hard to make it happen as soon as possible. So I don't know if I definitely want to say a particular time frame, Jackie, but I will tell you this, it's going to happen as soon as humanly possible. When we can deliver the quality product that we think is worthy of everybody in Sisel, we'll have it done.
Yeah, and let me, to that end, Krushell will call me at 3 o'clock in the morning from Canada, okay? He'll be up having a cup of tea in the freezing cold, right, in his living room in front of the fireplace. He'll say, Doc, here's another thing we need to add to the class. I go, I swear to God, Crusher, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, but I don't want to forget this, because they need to know this.
Right, because he's called you the night. You've called him the night before 3 o'clock.
You got it.
Are hilarious. You guys are riot.
It's like frickin' frack.
Exactly. It really
I love it. All right. Well, listen, guys. Thank you so much, Dr. Andrew Fallon. Thank you, Jeff. Krushell, for being on the call tonight, for giving us an hour of your precious time to share some exciting and informational news with us, for answering the questions, and just for entertaining us, too. It's been terrific. I really look forward to having you on our call again very, very soon. Guys, don't forget, the Sisel Connect call is starting right now. It's the same number as the morning call of 530-881-1400, 638-591-pound. And Aaron Renner is going to be announcing the annual contest, Mauer Mountain, although this year it's going to be called Mauer Beach, hint, hint. So you definitely want to hop on that call and get all the information. I have recorded this call. It will be posted on the Sisel Success Team page and the Sisel Academy back office in just a few minutes. So thank you once again to our fantastic guest tonight. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you all for being on the call, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Jackie, and thanks to everybody that's on the call. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait to meet you.